The interesting thing about the film is it deals with fugue state, which, has anybody heard of a fugue state before? Yeah, it's, I can never say, dissociative form of amnesia, where if a person goes through an extreme trauma, it's sort of their physical body's way of saying, listen, you're going through some stuff right now, you can't deal with it, and it's like a shut-off valve happens. And your whole brain shuts off, and you start running on autopilot. And you can create, this is a real thing, you can create whole new identities, you can act in a whole new different way, and it can last, usually, they'll last, an hour, a couple hours, but there are cases where they can last months and even years. Those are very extreme cases, but it does happen, it's crazy. So, after our last film, Dead Before Dawn 3D, which was a sort of campy, college kid, comedy horror, April and I, we had this film, we wanted to make it for a long time, so we just found the idea of this fugue state and someone being stuck in a fugue state really intriguing. So the timing was just perfect to make 88, and we knew, because it's a bit more of a complex story. There's two storylines in the film, and it follows Gwen through her fugue state, where she doesn't know what the heck's going on, and she goes by the name of Flamingo. And then it follows Gwen in her present state, as she comes out of the fugue state, and she's trying to retrace what she did when she was in the fugue state. And the film follows these two different parallel timelines. And so it's a revenge thriller while Gwen's out there trying to figure out what the heck's going on. And Miss Catherine Isabel plays Gwen and the Flamingo version of Gwen, Flamingo, the fugue state version. And she was just phenomenal. So it was a really demanding role. She basically plays two characters in the movie, and she's out there the whole time. Christopher Lloyd is the protagonist, or antagonist, bad guy. And if you like Christopher Lloyd and you want to see him in a different way, this is not a Doc Brown performance. This is Christopher Lloyd in a very gritty, cerebral, like brooding. He's like, Gwen, like a lot of that, like mumbling, not like usual, like, Gwen, how are you? Which we wrote the role specifically for him after he worked with us on Dead Before Dawn, and again, he played a very Christopher Lloyd type of role. He played a role where he was very, that exuberant Christopher. But the interesting thing is when we met him, we got, talking to him and stuff, he's actually quite introspective in life, and he reads a lot. He's very literal, and he's very sort of like into theater. He does a lot of plays. And so we just wanted to write him a role that had a bit more of that type of feel. And so we wrote the role for him, and when he read it, he loved it, and he brings that to the film as a whole.